All right guys, today I'm going to be showing you how to get spot-free water at your house, whether you're doing mobile detailing, window cleaning, whatever the case may be. This is a TDS meter. I'm going to show you the parts per million and the water straight from the spigot. And then I'm going to show you the current ppm right now, which actually needs to be changed. It's at about 3 ppm. Now, you can go up to 9 ppm to still be technically spotless. However, usually whenever I see 2 or 3 on this, I go ahead and swap the resin out. This tank takes 1 cubic foot of resin. A bag of resin costs usually around $220 to $250. And that's pretty much it. So I'm going to go ahead and show you in a little test cup here what our ppm is currently. Now, so you can see, this is directly from the side of the house. I don't have it hooked up to the tank right now. So I'm going to fill this cup up just a little bit. All right, just so you can see what I'm doing here, I got my ppm meter. You're going to turn this on. As you can see there, it says 0 ppm. I'm going to put this in the cup. We're at 132. I don't know if you could see that. It's locked in 130 ppm. We're going to go ahead and zero that out. Now I'm going to turn this on. I have it hooked up here through the spot-free finish filter. This filter here is just a post filter. The reason I have that is because whenever you change out the resin on these things, it's a mixed bed resin, so it's a really fine granule. It'll go into the tank. So I have this set up for my pressure washing tank or mobile detailing setup. That resin, if you don't have that post filter, sometimes can come out whenever you flush the tank, and a little bit can get in the bottom of the tank and it'll go into the seals and valves in the pressure washer, and it can cause issues. So that post filter just assures that I don't get any little resin pieces in the bottom of my tank. Now, if you don't have a tank, if you're just using this for at-home use, I guess you don't need it. I just definitely think it helps, especially if you keep your hose outside. If bugs or something get in there, that'll help filter that out before it goes to your source. I'm going to show you the current ppm here of the water through the filter, which we're going to be changing. So as you see there, it's at about 3 ppm. And we're going to be swapping this resin out. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that. So one thing that helps whenever you're taking this off and removing it is make sure the valves are open. This is going to allow air and water to flow through here. So whenever you pull it out, it can circulate and kind of ease out. Same whenever you put it in, it's not forcing against that closed valve, which can cause leaks. So if you have the valves open, everything can flow through. And you just unscrew it. It's kind of messy. What I'm going to end up doing is putting the resin that's in here in the garbage can. I just put a new bag in there, new garbage bag, empty this out in there, tie it up, and that way it doesn't really spill all over the place. It may be good to double bag it or use a contractor bag because this stuff's pretty heavy. All right. Use it out. There we have it. So that's the little down stem, if you want to look in here, full of water and resin. We're going to dump all that out. And so you guys have an idea of what this stuff looks like, and that's it. Just fine little resin granules. What we're gonna do is use a cup. I got this little funnel. You can get this on Amazon. It's called a funnel for resin. It's super cheap. Fits right in the hole of this specific tank anyway. And we're gonna scoop that stuff in here. And a trick I have whenever we're shoveling this stuff in here is we're gonna run a little bit of water to allow it to level down. And that's also gonna allow us to fit more resin in the tank. And it's gonna make it easier for us to put that down stem back in there. I'll show you this process just so you get an idea of how I help this kind of sink down. I just got a gallon of regular water here. I'm gonna pour this in here. I know you can't see, but Pour that in, start getting it level. We still have a little bit to go. Hang in there. All right, so I'm gonna call this the stopping point. We do still have a little bit left in the bottom of the bag, which is normal, but that's about as high as I can probably get it. And that's plenty enough to filter for another month or so. So I'll show you the process of getting this down stem back in. It is definitely not the easiest thing. Sometimes I have to use a rubber mallet on top to kind of bounce it back in there. If you have to put more water in there to soften that up a little bit, that's better than banging on the valves, at least from what I've found. So I'll show you this process. Remember, valves open. We're gonna try to make sure you get it as straight as you possibly can. So you guys can get an idea of what I was talking about with this filter. See the little pieces in there, and that's just from the cycle of the last batch of resin. So what I usually do whenever I start this flush, I'm going to keep this tab here, keep this tab open, and we're going to allow the water to flow out the filter. We'll probably have to clean this one time before I run it in the actual tank, but I usually let about 10 gallons or so flow before I fill the tank. So this is the flush part. And so you have an idea, this is about as high as I turn the water up. You don't want it shooting across the yard, just enough to have a little bit come out. My experience anyway, the lower you keep the flow, even though it takes longer to fill your tank, you're gonna get a lot more life out of the resin. I don't have a RO filter or anything before the DI tank. I literally come straight from the hose bib to the tank, and that's how it filters. I'm gonna go ahead and show you guys the new reading here. Let me dry that out. See where it's zeroed out. And we are at 0 ppm, just like that. So that's all it takes to have spot-free water at your house. It's about $700 new. Each bag, like I said, is about 200 to 250, 220 to 250. But that pretty much covers it. Keeps us spot-free for every wash. If you're doing this for mobile detailing, I would definitely upcharge if you get a spot-free water system. But at this point in my detailing career, I would reschedule somebody if I didn't have access to spot-free water. It's just not the same. Cars just don't look as clean whenever you're not using this stuff, in my opinion. And especially working in the Florida sun, it makes the job so much easier. So that's how you do that, though. If you have any questions, drop a comment. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share with your friends. See you guys in the next video.